Hi there, this is Sheena Rodens and today I'm sharing with you my National Scrapbooking Day challenge for Hey Little Magpie. So for this challenge we're scrapping each other and I'm scrapping the very talented Julie Taylor, and that's her layout in the green that I've chosen to scraplift, and I'm going to use the Simple Stories Wildflower range and some photos I took recently with the cherry blossoms. So I've decided out of the ones that I've got left of this range of 12 by 12 pieces to use the Complete Bliss as my background. So I've come in with a thick white cardstock and I'm going to make that 11 inches square so that I can attach it to the base layer later on. So I've got Julie's layout there printed out just to keep me focused, and I've just drawn around circle so that I've got an idea where I want to add the mixed media to this. So I'm bringing in a stencil by Simple Stories. It's not from the Wildflower range. It's called Branch and Butterfly 6x6 stencil, and I'm going to just put some texture paste through that. It's like leaves, and I'm going to put texture paste through that just within the circle is the plan. So I'm trying not to make too much mess. As I say, I'm not a natural at this. That is one of the reasons I chose this layout. I thought that National Scrapbooking Day or International Scrapbooking Day was actually about challenging yourself. So by picking a layout that wouldn't necessarily scrap lift, I thought it might be a challenge to you too. So over on Hey Little Magpie, you will find that we've got a number of challenges running all day, all scrap lifts of each other in the team. And if you do any of the layouts, make sure you put them in the correct albums. I think you've got a week to get everything in the right place. Actually, I think it's midnight on Sunday the 21st of May, GMT, to get them in the albums. All entries will be in a draw to win 1,000 Magpie Points, which is £10 to spend in the Hey Little Magpie shop. So one entry per person per challenge, something newly created specifically for this challenge. You can only enter each layer into one of the scrap lifts, but you can combine with other challenges. Anyway, there are a few rules and bits and pieces, but they're all there on the threads and on the Facebook group. So do have a look because it's going to be a fabulous weekend. So off camera I've let the texture paste dry, and it did take a little while, and I've come back in and I started off looking at watercolour paints to paint this circle. You can't see it, but I have got Julie's example just off camera just to remind me of what hers looked like, and I decided that Distress Oxides was a mixed media I was more comfortable with. So I pulled out all the pinks and peaches that I've got, and using the packaging technique I thought I would make a start to fill in this circle, because on Julie's example the circle is pretty much covered in different shades of green, so I just needed to actually make a start and start to fill it in. If I want to test a colour, I've been testing it where I think the photographs are going to go, in case I don't like it or I don't think it goes with the paper. So that's why I've got a piece of pattern paper to my right there, so that I can actually keep referring to the colours that are in the Wildflower range, because obviously I want it to go with the papers that I've chosen and the embellishments that I will later use. So that's my thought process there, and I do think that once I start to get down some ink into this circle, I actually get braver, I suppose you could say. As I say, we know this is not my forte, but I'm actually enjoying it once I get started. And I have a motto that I need to remind myself of a lot, that this is only a piece of cardstock. Yes, I've spent some time, I've cut it, I've stenciled onto it, but essentially it is a piece of cardstock. So if it all goes wrong, or I spill the water, or whatever happens, it's not irreplaceable, and I can do it all again, or I can change it. So that is something it's taken me a long time to appreciate. Same with pattern paper. Yes, it's a shame when you do something that you don't in the end enjoy or like, but it is essentially a piece of paper, a piece of cardstock. So I just need to get things in perspective, and you can see I have speeded this bit of the video up because my hands don't move quite that way, but I've let that dry, and I've got the photos where I think they're going to go. Brought Julie's example back in, and I think I might tidy up, or I might add a little bit more and see if I can get a bit braver. Might add a few dots over the top. I want to make sure they're in the centre rather than on the outer bit. And I always have some kitchen roll to hand, because you can always dab things off really quickly if you're not sure. So I'm just cleaning that bit of matte up, try another colour, and I'll do a bit more of a sprinkle over the top. I'm really quite liking the way that this is looking. It's looking quite delicate, and I want it to go with some spring blossom photos, so I think that fits. Potentially a bit pale in places, so I think I do come in a little bit later and add a bit more colour. And in fact now I'm getting braver, and I'm literally going around some of the veins of the stalks, adding a bit more colour and adding some more spots in. So the more I've played with this, the more I'm enjoying it. So I've decided I'm going to rub out the pencil line round the edge, and I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine. Julie had sewn round her circle, so I'm going to do the same, but I've done that in a nice dark pink, and by rubbing out the line, it didn't matter if I wasn't perfect, and I didn't want to be. I wanted it to be a little bit off centre, so I did 3 lines, because obviously odd numbers are always better, and I've just given the edge a bit of a rough up with the scissors. So I'm liking the way that's looking. So I've stuck the cardstock to the background paper, the Complete Bliss, and now I've picked up all sorts of bits that are pinks and yellows from this range, which is most of this range. There is a little bit of a grey blue going on as well, which I thought would work. So I've added a checkered paper behind both of the photographs. I think there's going to be enough of other things going on that I don't need to add too much there, because going back to the one that Julie's got, she's got lots of embellishments coming out either side of her photograph, and I'm aiming to emulate that. So I'm just having a look what flowers I've got, what other embellishments that would work either side of these 2 photographs. I think this is probably one of my most favourite Simple Stories ranges of recent times. I've absolutely loved it. I think I've made 4 or 5 different layouts, and I still have quite a bit left, as you can see, and it always takes me a while to choose and decide. Trying to think about a title. Julie's runs across the centre of her layout. I'm aiming to do something similar, so it's just deciding what words I would like to use. So today potentially would fit. I think there's a few choices actually from the foam stickers that would work. So I will keep looking. So I'm tending to move things to the right that potentially have are going to make the cut, and I'm looking for some flowers to go either side of the photographs at the moment. So my challenge is halfway through the day on National Scrapbooking Day, and I would really recommend that if you're going to have a go at this, that you actually do this at the same time as you do some of the other challenges, so that you can actually let the texture paste dry, for example, then let the paint dry, and you could be working on it in between the others. So just a thought, but rather than you could multitask, and I'm sure you're absolutely great at that. So I've taken the scraps that I've got and a bit of cardstock, and off camera I've cut some feathery bits, some leaves, and some interesting bits that would go around the flowers, very similar to what Julie had in her layout. So it was a good way of using up the scraps actually, so I was quite pleased to do that, and I'm now going to start to actually get things in position. If you've watched me before, you'll know there's no glue going down yet. I like to be really sure about where things are going to go, and then I will probably glue it off camera, because you haven't got all day to watch this video. So I'm going to start with this flower cluster. I really like the look of that. I took it into that photo at the bottom. I think that photo will probably be the one that is the main focus out of the 2 potentially, so may have more embellishment around it. So these photographs were taken only a week ago on a trip to Stockholm, which was beautiful, and there was a park, and all the trees had cherry blossom on them, and there was lots of people there wanting to take their photograph. So I decided the only way that we could get a shot of just us and the cherry blossom was to do some selfies. So that's exactly what we did. So at the moment in this pictures it looks like it was just us there, but actually the place was heaving with people. Rightly so, all making the most of the fact that the trees were looking absolutely fabulous. So I just thought actually it's just such a lovely sign of spring that it would be really nice to get these scrapped. So behind the bigger flowers that I've picked, and in fact I think I'm going to change that over for these two smaller ones, I'm going to just tuck in these fronds and bits and pieces until I decide. I want to get a mix of colours and shapes either side. So there is a little bit of thought process going into it, and I'm going to just layer them up in each area. So while I'm fiddling around, this is one of my favourite parts of scrapbooking, just getting everything in the right place. Embellishments have always been my favourite part of this process. Behind the scenes, I'll either have some music or an audiobook playing, just so it's a nice, calm atmosphere. And I find scrapbooking such a lovely release from everyday work stuff. So I don't seem in a hurry, because I'm not, because I'm actually enjoying the process. I'm not too worried about how many layouts I create in that sense. I don't scrap chronologically or anything like that, because I do project life as well. So I feel that I'm already documenting our life, so I can be a bit picky with the photos and the memories that I want to scrapbook. What I will also tell you that I won't be journaling on the front of this. I will be adding the date when the photos were taken, and I will be adding the title, but I will be adding a few words on the back. I do that quite a lot if I don't feel that the journaling is going to work on the front. Not only am I left-handed, I'm also dyslexic, and I find it quite difficult to enjoy seeing my writing on the front of a layout. So if I can write it on the back, sometimes if there's lots, I'll actually pop an envelope on the back and pop the journaling in, so that I know it's there, just to record some of the memories, some of the bits and pieces that you don't want to forget. I'm quite happy to put the people or a few lines on the front of something, but I don't want to write loads. So I've stuck all that down off camera. I've added a heart to the photo. There's the little strip that's going to have the date on when I come to put this in the album. And I'm now looking at the title. So I went with the word hello from the foam sticker sheet, and I've cut the, with an alphabet, I've cut the word spring to go underneath it. And the spring word is a darker pinky red cardstock, and I've actually cut some of the fronds from the same, so it will pick up the same colours that are already there. I'm just using a ruler to get it straight. It does run onto the photograph, but I'd rather it ran onto the photo than it ran onto the flowers, and I'm just adding the word spring underneath. This cardstock I cut this from has actually got a sticky back, so it should actually hopefully stick in place. So I think I was having a little trouble with a couple of the letters, and if not, I will add some glue to them later on. But I think Hello Spring says it all. I'm just seeing if there's any other bits I want to tweak or tuck in, particularly as I cut some extra bits. So I will keep them with the rest of the kit that I've got, of the range that I've got left. So I'm just adding any little final bits and pieces there. But I have to say I've really enjoyed scrap lifting Julie Taylor, and specifically the layout that I chose. I feel like this is a good representation of hers, but it's also very much feels like it's me. So, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? So I do hope you have a go at this, and use Julie's as your starting point, not mine. And I look forward to seeing them all in the gallery. And if you don't get a chance to scrapbook this weekend, don't worry about it. You've got till Sunday the 21st of May at midnight to get them in the right albums on the Facebook group, and I'm sure you'll get a few of them done because there's great challenges. So here is the main layout, and there'll be some close-ups as well. Thank you so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up, like this channel if you want to see more videos. Thank you so much for watching. See you here again soon. Bye for now.